All right, we were talking about self-esteem in view of relationships, romantic, familial, or even friends. And we spoke about the fact that it's very important to find the strength to walk away when you find yourself in an abusive relationship. I think I should add to that. And that is, many people, now there is, loyalty is key. You don't bail on your friend. You don't bail out of your, out on your friend. You don't bail out on your family. You should be there for them as much as you can. But there's a clear difference between serving and being used.
Yeah.
I personally believe that life is all about service. In fact,
you find happiness in that,
service.
Actually, yeah.
I say that the purpose of service itself is service. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily serving to get something.
It's more for you.
Yes, because if you're not serving, what else are you doing?
That's true.
You're just leaving. So you feel empty. So it's beautiful to be available for your loved ones. It's beautiful to be available for people who are not even related to you. You know, and to serve them from a place of love, from a place of light, from a place of trust. You know, that from your pure humanity. Now, but when you see that someone is taking advantage of you, I suffered this a little bit as well, because I had to get to the point where I had to sit down and ask myself, if I allowed myself to continue in this path, what's the worst thing? Which is where which our conversation is going to go to. What is the worst thing that happens if you refuse to walk out of such relationships? If you stay there, you will never be appreciated. Let's get that straight. It doesn't matter how long you stay with an abuser, you stay with somebody who emotionally abuses you, you will never be appreciated. It doesn't matter if you stay for 20 years. He's always going to ask, or she's always going to ask for one more year.
And they keep losing respect for you when you stay, because they
you don't
know.
Respect yourself.
They're like, yeah, why should I respect her?
So tell me, share with me, when you, from your experience, when you walk away from this kind of relationships, what did you discover in yourself? What was it like?
You first of all discovered that it was all about attachment and dependence. You know, you depend a lot on these people and you're too attached to them. So basically, before leaving, you're too scared to leave because you're like, oh, you know, I don't want to be alone. So like, there's no one I can hang out with anymore. Okay. Or like, there's no one loving me anymore. But this is the key actually. When you're like too scared to be alone by yourself, that means like
there's a problem.
Like the most important relationship in this whole universe is the one with yourself, you know. So this is when you leave this, you're just with you and, you know, me, myself, and I, you know.
Exactly.
Like, it's only you versus yourself, and this is when you actually start talking to yourself and you start like taking it easy with yourself. You start like treating yourself better. Finding out, this is when actually self-awareness develops as well.
Yeah.
Because you're like, well, actually, I'm not very confident. I have this problem. Like, I'm actually dependent on people too much.
And then you see that.
Yeah, and why am I giving too much? Why am I allowing? Maybe I allowed because I did this and that. And you also have to learn to go easy on yourself and forgive yourself.
And heal.
Yeah, and heal and grow. So heal and grow.
You know, that's one perspective which I completely agree with. But not everyone actually is afraid to break out of an abusive relationship or someone who uses them because they're afraid to be alone. Sometimes it's just because some people are really good people. I know, like, it's not like, I've seen people who are in relationships who, it's not because they're confident. Like, they'll be alone and they'll be fine. But they have this sense of guilt of leaving someone that they cared about. That they care about. They cared about and they probably still care about. You know what I mean? So it's not like I cannot be alone. I can be alone. I'll be fine. I have my relationship with myself. I'm confident.
No, that's what they think, I think.
No, sometimes it can be like that. Let me explain. I see what you're saying. There is the people who think like that. They lie. Because how do I know that? Such people actually, when they break away, when they finally get to the point where they break away confidently. But the question is a question of time. So it's not a question of whether to do it or not. It's a question of when is the right time to break away. Now, and I want to add to that. I want to address that. So if you find yourself in that kind of situation where you know that you care about someone, they're abusing you, maybe not necessarily, when we talk about abuse, most times we talk about, it sounds physical, you know what I mean? Everyone's
not emotional.
Emotional. But there are people who are very subtle, smart, intelligent, negatively, with the way they deal with people, that you sometimes have to sit down, take a break, analyze yourself, analyze your reactions, their responses, their reactions, to really see in between the lines. This guy is just, he's playing me, you know what I mean? So there are people who are that good, that they've been doing it all their life, so they have experiences with it. They have loads and loads of experience behind it. So it's like a skill, actually. In the same way we learn how every other skill, some people actually have learned how to manipulate people effectively. Now, when you find yourself in that kind of relationship and you, like you said, it's not the case of you depending on them. It's a case of the fact that sometimes you can actually genuinely love someone who doesn't love you back.
But, love, this is like where the definition of love comes.
Okay. Yeah.
Love is not about that. Love is about...
Love is not about what?
Love is not about that. Like,
about
okay,
what?
like you cannot call it love if it's one-sided. Actually, I don't believe in one-sided love.
Okay,
that's a dependency, actually. That's some kind of...
You are dependent on them.
You're dependent in a way that they make you, like, the feelings that you give to them make you feel better, make you feel good. You get something from it. It's not love. This is not love. Don't tell me it's not, because it's not love. Let's say a woman is staying with a man for like let's say 20 years marriage, and he's been cheating on her all these years, and she's like saying, oh yeah, it's because I have kids. No, woman, it's not because you have kids. It's because you're
afraid to pull out.
You're afraid to do it on your own.
I agree with you.
You're afraid to just be there and face it, you know? Because I've seen a lot of cases like this of women who are really scared to leave their husbands, who treat them really bad. Like they beat them and they're like, oh no, it's the kids.
I agree with you.
It's not the kids. The kids
are
just an excuse. It's you. That's why I'm saying dependency, because they have this thing from staying in there. They just like they feel secure.
Actually, they can actually be addicted to that whole cycle.
Addiction, or just like security. You know, they're feeling secure, like in that way. That's comfortable for them.
Comfortable, maybe
they're
not
very
security,
comfortable.
But comfortable.
But like they're feeling like, okay, I'm safe. I have a house. I have this and that. I don't have to do it all over again. I don't have to like
start again.
Or like if you have children, I don't have to get divorced and just like be with my children. Who's gonna take me? Oh, you don't have to care about who's gonna take you. Just care about yourself, and when you do that, you are gonna meet the people who you're supposed to be with, because that's better, and this is when it feels real. And
I agree with you.
And it doesn't consume you, because that's very consuming. Like imagine you're loving someone who doesn't love you back. It's so consuming. Like what kind of energy are you gonna live with?
Now I get where you're coming from, but that's in a close relationship. Sometimes, what is love? Right? Love in itself is unconditional. Love in itself is given. Let me clarify. Let me land, because I agree with you that there is abuse, right? I completely agree with you that people should not give off themselves, right, without a balance coming back as well. Because as much as you love, you also have the need to be loved, and it's healthy to be loved. There are a lot of people who train themselves to love but do not know how to receive love. It's actually a special thing. It's another kind of skill you have to learn. It's one thing to be, some people pride themselves in loving, I love everyone. But when it's time to receive love, they freak. They shrink, they cannot handle it, because they are not used to receiving love. You know what I mean?
Because they don't give it to themselves.
Because that's my point. Because they don't give it to themselves. But what I was trying to say is, so I do not agree with that. So on that, I agree with you. We're on the same page with that. But what I'm saying is, love in itself, right? First, it's not an emotion. I believe love is not an emotion. I believe love is a decision.
It's a choice.
It's a choice.
I was going to say that.
Yes, I do not believe love is an emotion. I believe love is a decision, right? Now, and the point is, love in itself is unconditional. Has to be unconditional. If it's pure love, it has to not depend on anything. Not even the person receiving it.
Honestly.
Let me finish.
Okay.
Please. Right? I get where you're coming from. It has to be, if it is pure, if there is a clause attached to love, then maybe it's not love anymore. Maybe it's actually dependence on that clause. Now, that is love in itself. Now, choosing who to love is another thing. But love in itself has to be unconditional for it to be true love, for it to be real. It doesn't matter between a father. This is going to expose, if we apply this principle to a lot of relationships, it's going to expose a lot of things, because a lot of even mothers do not even love their children unconditionally. That's a very strong thing to say, but it's true. Because if you get to the core of their heart, they love their children because they hope that one day their children would grow up, become great people. You need to sit down and talk to people to really know what's in their head. It's funny, actually, but it's real. People love people for so many reasons, and they call it love. But the love in the real sense of the word is unconditional. Now, if you know that you have this kind of gift, you've walked yourself through that part of self-awareness to that point where you know that now I actually can love. Now, there is one thing, you become very attractive to abusers because they know that the love that you carry is real and it's unconditional. So it's like you're not doing it because of something you want from them. You're not doing it because you want to be with them in a relationship. You're not doing it because you want them to buy stuffs for you. You're not doing it because you want them to approve of you. They see it. And it's like, is it more than light? You know, it's like you become attractive to them because you have this healing aura, because love heals around you. So most problematic people will be attracted to you. Now, you have to get to the point where you decide that, okay, this is who I am. Because I love myself, because I have been able to give this love to myself, I have to admit and accept, and it's not pride, it's confidence that I love people. Sometimes you find yourself doing stuff you don't even like. It's natural because if I pour so much water in this jar, in this cup, in this mug, and it keeps filling up the mug, it gets to a point that it will pour down. So when you have enough self-love for yourself, even without your control, as long as you keep loving yourself, it oozes out through your pores. People feel.
But how I see that is just, it's waste. Let's say you're pouring that water.
That's another
enough,
perspective.
and then it's just wasted, you know. And don't waste it. You should really share it. I would rather take another cup and share that water with someone else, or take another cup and pour it in it.
Yes.
You know, that's the difference. Because when you just pour it like this, there's just waste, and you shouldn't. That's the waste. Like you shouldn't waste that.
Exactly. Water. That's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is, if you pour this water, because you filled with self-love, automatically you become attractive to people who need love.
When you waste it.
No, not yet. Not yet. So that's why I said there's a difference between love and choosing who to love. So now that you have that love in that cup, which comes back to your point, choosing who to love, then you decide. So you have to get to that point of self-awareness where you look at yourself and say, I have love. I love myself. From the very top of my head to the lowest part of my body, I love myself. Not in a narcissistic way, but I'm confident at who I am, you know? And when you get to that point and you see that you have to then decide who else is. Now, people deserve your love, but not everybody deserves a space in your life. Not everybody deserves a space in your close circle, because I love to think of people like perfumes, like fragrances. When you walked in here, you're a person, yeah? But if just flow with me in my imagination. There's no way you leave this place, I kind of rubbed off on you. A part of my experience, a part of who I am. You're living with a part of me, actually. Just like I am living with a part of you. And that's how we are. So when you're around people who... Oh, my time is up. This is a great conversation. We need to continue this, but we need to quickly go on a commercial break. We'll be right back.